I want to thank you all for being here again. This is a forum for the candidates in the 10th Congressional District. 3 candidates decided that wanted to participate. One we've not been able to contact in some time after he made the commitment. That's Mr. Kirk. So anyway, we have 2 of our candidates here. Now we have a moderator, Braden Jacobazi, 9th Congressional District Vice Chair. He'd be a great moderator for this event. I think you're all going to discover that shortly. And I'd like at this time to introduce him and turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's District 10 Congressional Debate. That's strange to say for me. I'm Braden Jacobazi, Vice Chair of your neighboring District 9. I'll be a neutral third-party moderator. I have no dog in the race, as Mark said. But I do have a great deal of gratitude for many of the faces I see here who supported District 9 in our big SOS debate and who have often supported us. So I was very glad when Mark reached out and asked for some help. So thank you all. It's my honor to be here tonight. Thank you to the Michigan 10th District for inviting me and for hosting this debate. It's a privilege to be with all of you. Now, without further ado, we have 2 candidates here tonight. I want to say something that you have outstanding candidates who are here tonight that are fighting hard to earn your vote. They represent you to represent you in Congress. It's so important that we support candidates that are actually willing to step right up into a very public verbal firing squad like this of a debate and a forum, because doing so proves real courage, strong leadership, and a deep conviction in what they believe in. So each of these 2 candidates brings real-world experience, strong values, and a deep commitment to making Michigan stronger. So tonight you will hear directly from Robert Lulgjuraj, and Steffan Demetropoulos. So without further ado, I'll skip all this. If you guys just want to give 2-minute stump speech, I would encourage you to actually not make it a stump speech. Speak from the heart and try and give people something that they haven't heard before about who you are, why you're here. Robert, why don't you go first?
Sure. All right, well, can you hear me okay?
No.
No, it should be on.
We'll just share it.
No, you guys can share your mics. I went through a work to do that. Test. There you go. And if you hit this, it'll turn on to green. So you want to keep it red until you're ready to speak.
Thank you. All right. Braden, first of all, thank you for hosting this. And I'd like to thank Michigan Matters and Mark and Lisa for putting this together, and all of you for being here. I think it's great. Mark Ringel, thank you for doing the time here, and obviously thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Okay, so Mark, you know what? The establishment may be nice. I don't know where Mark Forn's at, but the establishment may be nice, but they never show up. And so the reason why they're not here is I assume, well, no, not that I assume. I know that their fathers are running their campaigns, number one, and so maybe you should have brought up more seats, Mark, for their fathers who are funding their campaigns, who are creating super PACs for their campaigns, who are pushing their children, because that's what the establishment does, right? They put their children in office, and they pass down the crown from one generation to another. And now we have 2 candidates up here, and me, I have the money, we have the wherewithal, we have the experience, we have the money to go after them, to beat them, to save this seat, to give it back to the Republicans, and to give it to a true grassroots Republican MAGA warrior, and that's us. And Mark, they're not from Macomb County, and actually, I give this gentleman some credit. I think he deserves a round of applause, because to put yourself, yeah. Steffan came here, and I'm sorry. You know what? Okay. No, he came here. He's debating. He's putting himself out there, and him and I are the true. If I couldn't vote for myself, I'm not going to support Kirk and I'm not going to support Bouchard because they're carpetbaggers. One came back from Florida to get this seat, and the other one was born and raised in Birmingham, and they probably have no idea where 17 in Garfield is marked for, and that's a big reason why they're not here. So I'm just going to give you a quick, just 10 seconds, little background on me. Born and raised in Macomb County, born and raised in Sterling Heights. My grandparents and parents escaped communism and religious persecution. I love America. This is the greatest country in the world. Don't ever let the left tell you otherwise. I see the stop sign. I was a prosecutor, and now I'm running for Congress in my hometown to get a true MAGA grassroots warrior in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Steffan, you're up. 2 minutes.
All right, is this on? Okay, so my name's Steffan Demetropoulos. I am a U.S. Army veteran. I am a husband, a father of 4 kids. I truly care about this district. I'm raising my children here, and that's the biggest reason why I think that I will be the best representation for this district. Every decision I make, my children are going to have to live with from this day forward for this district. And another thing about me is right now I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe I'm the only candidate who's working full-time. I'm a construction project manager. I know the blue-collar community. I am the blue-collar community. I work with the blue-collar community every single day, and that's the reason why I'm going to be able to beat the Democrat this November. That's all I need.
Thank you, Steffan. Okay, so as Mark mentioned earlier, you will each have 2 minutes to answer each question, and I'm going to cycle between who gets the question first. So we'll start with Steffan to answer the first one, and then you'll answer the next one, and everybody will get a chance to speak. If you mention someone's name in some kind of a derogatory way or whatever, that's fine. But then they get to speak for another 30 seconds. So do it at your own risk. So the first question that we have is related to Medicaid and its impact on the general election. Democrats in this district will likely target Republicans regarding how 24% of Congressional District 10's residents are on Medicaid. They may argue that at a national level, Republicans' new restrictions on Medicaid will impact local enrollees and healthcare facilities that receive Medicaid funding. If you become the Republican nominee, what will be your response when that 24% number is brought up in the general election campaign trail? Steffan.
So our elderly community on Medicaid, they're the backbone of this country. They created what we have here today, right now. This great country that we're all living in is because of them to some degree. So we need to continue to fight for our elderly community. I do not stand for cutting any Medicare or Medicaid benefits. That's really all there is to it. I don't have anything else.
Okay. Robert. Oh, did you have something more? You've got more time.
About fraud. Yeah, we definitely need to look into fraud. And that's already going on right now. President Trump has set a task force aside to go after fraud. I think there's, minimum of $213 billion going into fraud programs that is being funneled through Medicaid, Medicare programs. Yes, we absolutely need to fund or go after that fraud and stop funding those people. But for our elderly community, no. We need to make sure that they're taken care of.
Thank you. Robert?
Yeah, Brain, I think you're referring to Medicaid, which is for people that are supposed
Medicaid,
to be poor,
yes. Medicaid.
and that are on Medicaid. Yeah. So for the individuals that are poor, you know what? The American worker and the American citizen is actually tired of being taken advantage of. And so thank God that we have President Trump in there that's trying to clean up fraud, waste, and abuse in our government. And you can thank probably the worst president. I think Obama's worse, but the second worst president and President Biden for letting in. They tell us 13 million people. They let in 20, 25, 30 million people unvetted across the southern border, and now they are on the government dole and on so much stuff. And so I think if you're an able-bodied person, you need to wake up, get out of bed, quit smoking weed, quit doing drugs, quit making poor life decisions, quit having children out of wedlock, and be like the rest of the people, most of Americans who go out into the world, contribute to society, pay taxes, work hard, and quit taking advantage of a lot of the government. So we need more oversight in Congress, and I can't wait to get to Congress so we can have oversight over some of these government agencies. And thank God we have Dr. Oz in there. I think he's doing a pretty good job trying to clean up some of these roles and get people off of them. And because you know what the left wants to do? They want to get as many people as they can on government assistance, so they turn around and vote Democrat every cycle, and it's disgusting.
Okay, we're going to come back to that topic in a little bit. But before we do that, the second topic here is Selfridge Air National Guard Base. Outside of the new fighter jets that President Trump has assigned to the base in spring of last year, what is an additional investment or upgrade to the Air Force, to the Air National Guard Base that you would advocate for in Congress? You first, Robert.
All right, thanks, Brett. Yeah. So you can't get on every part of the base. So I don't know what upgrades they need, but you can thank President Trump. President Obama totally decimated the American military. And when you're a federal congressperson, first of all, the government is so bloated, and the federal government is doing so many things that are left to the states. But the principal thing that the federal government should do is safety and security. That means the border, and that means making sure the military has the best equipment in the world. And before President Trump, my favorite president was Ronald Reagan. I think President Trump is the best. And so President Reagan had a quote, peace through strength. And so when you give the military the best equipment in the world, our federal tax dollars should be going to that and not gay Sesame Street in Iraq, not studying gay frogs in Ethiopia, everything that the USAID does. And a lot of the left, they send our money all over the world, and it's our tax dollars. And so we need to shut down USAID. We need to get rid of some of these government agencies and take that money back and put it right into the military.
Thank you, Robert. Steffan, 2 minutes.
So being in the military myself, I have been on that base. I go often to that base. The biggest thing that I would put money into for Selfridge right now is the on-base housing. Being able to get soldiers or airmen over to that base to actively live there and create a community on base to create the presence that Selfridge should have on the northern border. It will absolutely deter anything from coming in and out of our northern border. So the housing is the biggest thing. Obviously the jets, extending the runway, everything that's going on with that, that's great. But we need to get more service members on base.
Okay. The next question, we are getting back to immigration and non-citizens. Robert brought this up, so here we go. You'll be answering this first, Steffan. Illegal immigration, chain migration, and challenges within our legal visa system remain top concerns for many Michigan families. In recent years, the United States has seen millions of unlawful border crossings, as well as visa overstays and concerns. This places strain on housing, schools, healthcare, and public safety, while some legal visa programs have been criticized for undercutting American wages and jobs. What is your position on these immigration topics broadly? If elected, what specific steps would you support to secure our borders for good and enforce our existing immigration laws, and what would you do to deal with the tens of millions of non-citizens currently here? And how would you reform the visa process? That's a lot of questions.
That's a lot
Speak
of questions
broadly.
in one. Yep.
What's your plan?
For 2 minutes worth of time, first and foremost, we need to stop illegal immigration and get the illegal immigrants out of this country. I don't care what law they're breaking. Immigrating illegally is the broken law. Get them out. And secondly, thank you. Secondly, I think we have a problem with the immigrants that have come over into this country as of right now. The Democrats have pushed so many immigrants into our country, and we have legal immigrants here who are refusing to assimilate. Assimilation is very important. This country was built on Christian values, and we need to get back to those roots. I personally would want to stop all immigration, legal and illegal, for a time being, and slow down that process and make sure that we can get our values as Americans back in this country. We should not have people who are not living our values representing our people.
You still have a minute. I thought you were going to go 10. Okay, Robert, you're up.
Yeah, I thought that was a very good answer. And I'm in agreement. We didn't need more money. We needed a new president. And when President Donald J. Trump in office, he totally stopped illegal immigration across the border. That's a really loaded question. There's a lot of immigration. First of all, I've lived the American dream. My grandparents came here not to get on the government dole, not to get welfare, but to work and contribute and be American citizens. When you come to America, you have to assimilate to American values because immigration without assimilation is invasion. It's really that simple. And so I'm from Sterling Heights, and it feels like in some of I've seen it substantially change when I was a young person, and so assimilation's a really big problem. I saw J.D. Vance once give a speech at Ole Miss, and the Democrats have let so many people into this country, they haven't assimilated to American values, and they've taken advantage of American kindness and our tax code and our education system. It's been a huge illegal immigration is number one, it's a national security issue. And number two, it's a financial drain on the economic system of America. All right, so it has to stop. And there's so many people that want to become Americans that are trying to come the legal way, and they can't because the Democrats are, and you know what? The Democrats do it all by intelligible design. They want to turn Texas blue, right? They want to keep people consistently voting Democrats, and it's a really big problem. So when I get to Congress, there's two caucuses that I want to join. I'm going to join the Freedom Caucus, and there's an anti-Sharia law caucus with... It's Keith Self, a congressman from Texas, Brandon Gill. Some of you have probably heard of these people. They're real American patriots. They're really great people. And so when I get to Congress, I want to be in line with these people. 15 seconds left. The visas are a problem. So what happens is these corporations, big government is in bed with big business. A lot of these companies are leftists, and they give money to Democrats. They want to undercut American jobs by bringing accountants, by bringing other people from other countries to undercut American labor. And we need to stop these H-1B1 visas of these companies taking advantage because the American workers will do that job, and there's no better worker than an American worker.
As a follow-up, please try and limit the length of this answer. But as a follow-up, I'd like to ask you, a lot of people will hear that answer and they will say, you're racist, you're xenophobic. America was built on the backs of immigrants. America is a nation of immigrants. We're a melting pot. What role do you feel or do you believe that immigration has served America in the past, and what should be its role in the future? Starting with Robert.
You want a quick answer?
Yeah.
This country was built on God, family, and country, and coming here, like I stated, to be an American. And people came from Germany and Ireland and Italy and Europe, all over the place, but they came here in search of freedom and upholding the Constitution. And he said it perfectly. This country was founded on Christian values. And the reason why I'm a conservative is we talk about God in our Republican Party platform and the Democrats don't. And so, yeah, we have to be extremely tight on immigration because we thought we had a lot of allies around the world, Braden, but we don't. A lot of Europe doesn't help us. A lot of countries have taken advantage of our kindness, and for the first time, we have a president that puts American lives first and this country first, and now it's changed. This is not the immigration of the 50s and 60s. We have people coming to this country that are committing crimes. We had that girl on that college campus that was raped by an illegal alien that should have been gone, and so it's a really, really big problem, and we need to clean it up quick.
But what role do you see immigration having in the future? That's the question.
Okay, So what role should it play in the future? I'm going to take the, I saw J.D. Vance, and I almost mentioned it last time, it escaped my memory. J.D. Vance gave a talk at Ole Miss and said that we've let so many people into this country, they haven't assimilated, and we need a moratorium of about 6 to 10 years of immigration. So the people that are in it, first of all, get all the illegal aliens out, but the ones that have immigrated so they can catch up and be a part of the American fabric. And he said that this country only needs somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million people per year. And when Biden brought in 25 million people, that's why you see crime increasing and affordability being a problem. So I would totally support a moratorium for an extended period of time.
Thank you, Robert. I just want to remind you that the question is about what was the role of immigration in the past, and where do you see it in the future? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert said it great. We definitely need to slow immigration down, like I said before. With all the illegal immigrants that came over during the Biden administration, it needs to be put to a pause. I'm not saying immigration is bad. We were created on immigrants, this entire country, and I was very blessed to have been born here, like many of us in this room, and I will never take that for granted. But right now, the amount of immigrants pouring into this country is detrimental to our society and way of life, and if we don't slow it down, we're going to lose who we are as a nation. So, yeah, I would definitely support pausing immigration for an extended period of time until we can figure out who we are and allow the people who have immigrated here legally to assimilate.
Thank you, Steffan. Thank you both. Okay.
Merit-based, too. Merit-based.
Great. Switching to a new topic, data centers and AI infrastructure. All right, this is a good one. Question. You all love it, right? No. The question. Technology and artificial intelligence are poised to take America to new frontiers. However, numerous communities in Michigan's 10th district, such as Sterling Heights and Rochester Hills and many others, have passed moratoriums or faced intense backlash over new data centers. Residents cite massive electricity demands and possible cost increases, heavy water consumption, cooling problems, noise and light pollution, loss of open land, etc. Some also fear that these AI-powered facilities could accelerate an all-seeing surveillance state through vast, unaccountable data processing. Proponents claim that these fears are overblown. They claim it's fear-mongering, and they claim that if you feed these fears, that you will leave Michigan in the technological dust. If a national bill similar to Michigan House Bills 5594 through 96 came before Congress, would you support a one-year moratorium on data center development? And more broadly, what specific policies on tax incentives, energy funding, clean energy requirements, oversight, et cetera, would you apply to data centers? Steffan.
Okay. So as a whole, I don't support data centers. I think this is a bipartisan issue across the board. Americans do not support data centers going in their communities, destroying their communities, eating up their Great Lakes, blowing down their trees, whatever you may be. The data centers are destroying our land. So no, I don't support 1 year. I support 10, 20, 30 years. There's no reason we need all of these data centers in our country, quite frankly. And I will not vote for any bill that puts a data center in my children's backyards.
Thank you. Robert.
Yeah, I'm for something called local control. And so it's the will of the local city council, the local state. I don't even think that it's constitutionally proper for the federal government as a federal congressperson to vote on data centers. But if some city wants it, or doesn't want it, those city council members have to listen to the will of their voters. And I think so I'm a big proponent of the 10th Amendment, which is called states' rights. And so if it's not specifically delineated in the Constitution, then it should be reflected down to the states and then down to the local community. So give people local control, let them choose. And I have a really big problem, very hesitant and very skeptical of these technology companies because they're skewed over to the left. Frankly, they try to rig our election and push Democrats through when President Trump first ran in 2016 and 2020. And so these people have plenty of money, and the fact that they come into Michigan and try to get these cities to give them tax breaks to incentivize construction, they should be using, well, first of all, our government money should never go towards them, and it should always be up to the local planning commission and the local residents. And I have a big problem with politicians telling their residents and their citizens what's best for them instead of the other way around.
Okay, in a similar topic, flock cameras and drone surveillance. This has come up in the news recently here. Oakland County recently approved Project Prove It, a 9-month pilot deploying AI-assisted flock safety drones as first responders to certain 911 calls. So they're going to be using drones before people, right? They're going to be automatically sent. Supporters say these tools, along with existing AI-powered flock license plate cameras, dramatically improve public safety and help catch suspects faster for a tough-on-crime approach. Critics call it an alarming step towards mass surveillance and say that it raises serious concerns about privacy, accountability, transparency, data retention, and so on. Do you support or oppose the expanded use of flock and drone-style automated surveillance technology by local law enforcement in our district? And what specific federal legislation, if any, would you sponsor or vote for regarding funding and data privacy standards, civilian oversight, et cetera?
All right, we don't need any more laws on the books. We already have enough laws. And so we need to enforce the laws, number one, that are on the books. Number two, I take a limited government libertarian view against surveillance. I mean, this is what we really need. We need a Republican president and a Republican governor so they can put tough on crime judges, and then these municipalities, all Democrat run, that allow criminals to run amok. And if you're tough on crime and you hire police officer men and women, and you give them the tools to be successful, and once they arrest them, they bring them in front of a judge, and you have tough, not George Soros prosecutors, tough on crime prosecutors and tough on crime judges, crime can evaporate very quickly. And you saw it with President Trump. When he got into the White House, he cleaned up Washington, D.C. real fast by having a tough on crime attitude. And then he also sent law enforcement agents to Memphis. I think it was Memphis. It was a city in Tennessee where they cleaned it up really, really quick. And you saw crime go down substantially. But the left wants their cities to have failing schools and a whole bunch of crime because that's how they decay society. And so we don't have to expand laws. We don't have to pass new statutes. You have to be tough on crime and get people off the streets, because when you do, it sends a message to everyone else that if you commit a crime, you're going to jail. So I'm against surveilling citizens. I'm against compromising people's constitutional rights. I think it's a very simplistic thing, and I know law and order very well, and we just have to put our money in the right spots there.
Yes. Thank you. Steffan, 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like data centers, the flock drones have no place in our communities. I believe that they are unconstitutional. They're supporting the Oakland County Sheriff right now, Mike Bouchard Jr.'s father, and they are also for the data centers that Justin Kirk's mother is trying to represent in Washington Township. So yeah, I will call that out as I see it. Yes, absolutely. It has no place in our society. We need to allow, like Robert said, we need to allow our officers to do their jobs, and we need to make sure that criminals are put behind bars. There's no better way to do it. And taking the police out of policing is going to leave us in a surveillance state that no one wants. Those who sacrifice liberty will have neither freedom or however the quote goes.
Ben Franklin.
You get it. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you both very much. Steffan, you'll be answering this one first. Switching topics to Lake St. Clair sewage and infrastructure strain. So, residents across southern Macomb County and Rochester Hills continue to deal with sewage overflows into Lake St. Clair, along with chronic road deterioration, repeated flooding, and frequent power outages. Candidates, both of you, do you believe the federal government should be more aggressive in preventing sewage overflows into Lake St. Clair? And if so, what specific investments or policies would you champion at a federal level to address these interconnected infrastructure challenges and better protect waterways, roads, and communities in Michigan's great 10th district?
So I don't have a great answer to that question. I'm not overly familiar with it, but we should not be polluting our waterways. And at the end of the day, being a conservative, I don't think that there should be anything in the federal level for sewage going into a local waterway. That should be taken care of at the local level. So I would refer back to your local representative.
Thank you, Steffan. Robert,
Yeah,
2 minutes.
I've read some things where Oakland County, I think, is discharging their sewage into Lake St. Clair, not working with Macomb County, and so we need to sound the alarm on that, number one. Number two, we have great engineers in Michigan. We have, infrastructure is a big problem. It's an aging issue. I'd like to get on the one of the committees I'd like to get on oversight, so I can go after the left. But one of the other ones I'd like to get on is infrastructure and trying to bring tax dollars. It's our tax dollars. The government budget's so bloated, but one of the things is the federal government should help their local and state partners is in infrastructure. And so President Trump says it very well. I think like during 2016, he's landed in all types of cities around the world, and he says they have beautiful runways, beautiful airports, and then you land in some of our cities and it looks like a third world country. And that's because I think the left has pushed a lot of money towards DEI stuff and wasting money on NGOs and everything else that they do to destroy the country, that it needs to go to the necessities first. So I'm a really big common sense person. Take care of the necessities first before you spend the people's money.
Okay, thank you very much. This one is referring to inflation. So, since 2020, Michiganders have seen unprecedented inflation and price increases across the board, while their wages have not increased. What is an out-of-the-box idea that you have for reducing prices of necessities in Congressional District 10, whether it involves groceries, housing, or other costs? Steffan. Or Robert, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Loaded question with inflation. But number one, the federal government spends $7 trillion and only takes in $5 trillion. So the federal government should live within its means just like you do. How do we get rid of inflation? It's a couple things. I'm all for the big, beautiful bill. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, letting small business owners write off their equipment, unleashing American manufacturing. The president is on board with that. He's going to have my vote every single day in the halls of Congress for that. And so you have to ignite manufacturing. You have to bring down the corporate tax code. He did do that in his first term. I think we had the highest corporate tax code in all of the world. And so bringing down taxes, letting small business owners thrive, we have to cut down spending. So you have to cut down spending and ignite the economy. And then the third thing, I think it's the number 3 prong, is unleashing American energy. Drill, baby, drill. Dig, baby, dig. And then also, price of food, price of gas, homes, all that stuff will start to be driven down when people's wages and taxes are cut.
Thank you. Steffan.
So I have a little bit of a different theory about inflation. I live it every day. I've got 4 kids. It's beaten our family up over the course of the past couple of years as well. But at the end of the day, what's really causing inflation is all of the illegal immigrants that were let in. Yes, we are printing more money and we are spending more money than we are bringing in. A lot of that is going through our fraud, but the illegal immigration is directly tied to inflation in the fact that all of these people are coming over, they're getting all of these benefits from the federal government. We're spending all of the money on illegal immigrants, and then we're creating the housing crisis by having all of these illegal immigrants, which is driving housing through the roof and not allowing Americans to find places to rent or buy for our families. And that's really what is at the core of inflation right now is illegal immigration. So if we fix the illegal immigration process and problem, we will be able to drive prices back to a stabilized rate. And quite honestly, once prices go up, corporations aren't going to bring them down. We just need to adjust. And it's terrible and it's unfortunate, but that's just the way that capitalism works, and it works. So we need to use that to our advantage, but at the same time, we need to hold off on further inflation and let our citizens' finances pick back up. And the only way we can do that is by stopping immigration, and particularly illegal immigration.
Okay. Thank you. This next question is for Steffan first. The auto industry and manufacturing pressures. Sterling Heights and Warren plants are under pressure from foreign competition, tariffs, draconian European environmental requirements like ESG that are built into the laws there that force our auto manufacturers to have to abide by them so they can sell cars there. We also have supply chain issues. And what specific actions would you do to fight in Congress to protect and grow jobs in Michigan's 10th district, such as the auto workers?
Yeah, so the auto workers are paramount to this entire district right now, and they always have been. They always will be. We're never going to get out of transportation, and we have all of these amazing factories in place to produce this. So we really need to focus on bringing that manufacturing back stateside to Michigan and make sure that all of our vehicle manufacturing is happening here in Michigan where it started, because that's what this entire district was built off of. We also have great companies like General Dynamics here that create all of our Abrams tanks and Strykers for the United States military, and that manufacturing needs to stay here as well. So those contracts with the government need to be supported, and that's something that I care about deeply.
Just if we could go back to that, because you do have another minute.
Okay.
The question was also related to the fact that there are rules and regulations put on these businesses by groups like the EU that force them to create products that people don't want in America. And it causes prices to skyrocket or rise up on gas-powered vehicles, let's say, in order to subsidize EVs that lose money, for instance. How would you affect change there?
Yeah, so an EV shouldn't be subsidized. Obviously, free and fair markets for capitalism would tell you that we should have whatever the people want. Whatever the people want to buy is what they should be able to get. We need to, I guess your question is more so regarding what policy or that needs to be put in place to make sure, I guess I'm kind of...
The question is, how could you affect a change there when there's regulations put in place that seem to prevent the businesses from creating the products that people want?
Okay, so, I mean, just stop the credits. The EPA is creating a problem that doesn't exist through climate change, however it may be. You just got to stop the process if we're going to have a free and fair market, and we're forcing companies to do what a nonprofit wants that's just funneling money through different government channels. That's not free and fair.
Okay. Steffan, just to reiterate the question. So What would you do to grow jobs in Michigan? And as an example with the auto industry, how would you affect a change when, even though we're bringing back maybe the industrialization and bringing back more plants here, they still have to deal with regulations, and some of those regulations are ESG regulations from across the pond. So how do we fix that?
Yeah, and I think that also, this will answer your inflation question as well, Braden. The left has lied to us about climate change and the Green New scam, and I don't believe in corporate subsidies. I don't believe in the federal government getting in and it's using our tax dollars to push their leftist agenda. And what can I do to help push change? Well, I believe don't let the left lie to you. For a long time, they told us tariffs didn't work. Well, they do. And not only did the left sell us out, but establishment Republicans like Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush have sold out this country for a really, really long time, okay? And so a lot of these people believe in one world order, global order, immigration, and business pacts with the EU, World Health Organization, all these World Health Organizations, the EU. President Trump is getting us out of these stupid agreements with all these crazy leftist George Soros-funded organizations, and we're no longer going to get our dictates from them. We're getting our dictates here from President Donald J. Trump. And so what's going to help save us jobs? I do believe in tariffs. This community's been decimated. We used to believe in fair trade as Republicans, but Bill Clinton also sold this country out with NAFTA. And so we don't believe in free trade. We believe in free trade. And President Trump is honestly a man. He stands up every day for the American worker. He does. He thinks about the blue-collar worker every single day, and he cares about the auto workers. And so we're not going to allow our foreign adversaries to manipulate our currency, to steal our IP, and to give us unfair trade deals. And he's the only president that has a spine. And so I'm really proud to have the endorsement of auto workers for Trump and Brian Pannebacker, because they know I'm going to fight for the auto workers' jobs and push for tariffs and equalize these trade deficits, and to make sure that every single day the American worker and the American government has the best financial deal over any other adversary.
Thank you. Okay, we're getting down to the last couple of questions here. So the next question is, and this, I don't know, maybe this is the most important one. Congressional District 10 is a swing district. As a general election candidate, how do you plan on reaching voters in southern Macomb County and in Rochester and Rochester Hills who intended to vote for an independent like Mike Duggan, for instance, or a Democrat on the ballot? How would you achieve getting their votes, Steffan? Or Robert.
Well, I'm just going to speak from the heart. I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not going to use notes. I'm going to tell, if I come across these voters, I don't change my talking points if I go to a Republican room or if I meet another voter. Conservative values work because conservative values are American values. And so we do. We believe in God and not government. That's number one. The most important house is not the White House, but it's your own house, how you raise your children and your families and the dynamic that you have. Number two, law and order. The left doesn't want safe streets. We want safe streets. We want to protect women and elderly and children and support police officers and support federal agencies so you can walk up and down your neighborhood and live in a civil society. Number three, we have the best economic policies, right? Republicans believe in capitalism. We don't want socialism. We don't want government-run grocery stores. We don't want Mamdami. We don't want these crazy leftists like Elizabeth Warren and all these crazy psycho people that are going to destroy America. And if we don't get, first of all, I'm not a Republican, I'm a Trumplican. If we don't get America First, MAGA Republicans in office, we're going to lose America. And we just have to tell people that your universities are brainwashing your children. The media is brainwashing you. That this president is putting forth really good economic policies, and he's strengthening our military, and he has the back of law enforcement. And that's a recipe, I think, for American success, along with praying and making sure we never lose God and making sure we never lose the values that built the Constitution. And why wouldn't you want a Republican? I believe in the First Amendment, your ability to practice your faith and speak out. The Second Amendment, so important. I think if you lose the Second Amendment, you lose all the other Bill of Rights. Okay, you deserve to protect yourself, right? The Fourth Amendment, right, protects you against horrible searches searches and seizures. The 10th Amendment is so important. States' rights. The Founding Fathers put states' rights in because they believe in laboratories of democracies. We don't want monarchies. We don't want kings and queens. And so we need to get back to limited government, because the smaller your government is, the smaller the government, the bigger the citizen. Thank you. Sorry for going over.
Steffan, if you'd like, you can take your extra 5 seconds too.
You're good. Can you remind, how do we beat the Democrat? That's essentially the question.
How would you win over a Democrat or an independent when in a divided state the way we are?
Yeah,
Or in a divided district the way you are, where you have a lot of, where it's not just ruby red, as you said earlier.
Yeah, I mean, historically, this district is, 53% Democrat registered voters, but that didn't stop anything the past 6 years. We voted for Trump. We've been red for 6 years. We're going to continue to stay red because we're the party of common sense. It doesn't take much to beat a Democrat right now when common sense is the only thing you need. You need to stick to your morals, you need to stick to your codes, and you need to put forward your best foot. And I think that the Democrats are going to force their way through lies and manipulation, and it's quite obvious and seen for everybody, not just in this room, but for in this district. We have so many Democrats in this district that have voted Republican in recent years, and they just haven't switched over their status, because we are the party of the people, for the people, by the people, and we're going to remain that way.
Thank you, Steffan. Before we go on to the last couple of questions, I want to make a plea to everybody in the audience to fill out a note card so that you can get your question heard, because I want all of you guys to get engaged too. You showed up, right? You may as well get your question answered. So please put your notes on the note card and bring them up here. Actually, Mark will wander around and
I'd like to make an announcement.
Yeah.
If I may. Something came up. I want to thank you all for turning off your phones. I did too. And I got a message at 5:21. I got a message from Mr. Kirk, Mr. Justin Kirk, and I'd like to read it to you. Keep in mind that I invited him personally, along with the other 4 candidates, and he very gladly accepted and said he would be here. Mark, I thank you for the invitation and for your efforts in organizing the forum. After giving a careful consideration, I've decided not to participate. I believe these events are most valuable when all candidates are given a fair and equal opportunity to attend. Now, that irritates me because I gave them all a fair and equal opportunity to attend. But anyway, let me go on. Based on my understanding of the process, not all candidates were afforded the same opportunity with respect to scheduling and participation, and therefore not all candidates will be present. As a result, I do not believe the forum will provide voters with the comprehensive discussion they deserve. I appreciate the invitation. I remain committed to participating in debates that allow voters to hear from all candidates and make informed decisions about the future of this great district. So thank you. So anyway, I thought it was fair to read that to you. So anyway. So here are the...
Are these blanks or are these filled out?
Well, I think they're...
Oh, great. Okay, good. We have plenty of questions.
Yep, and then maybe we can have a few for the crowd.
Great. Okay, so... Oh, Mark, can you... I don't want to trip on this thing. It's like a tithing jar. Okay. Well, that's making the rounds. We're going to go over the last question here because I want to get to the audience questions. All right. So the last question is related to election integrity. You knew it was coming. Come on. It's District 9 here. Come on. So what is your position on the Save America Act, and what role do you see for the federal government in securing our election systems? And to what degrees has the federal government been successful or unsuccessful in that pursuit? I can't remember who was last. I think Steffan, I think you're next.
Okay. So the SAVE Act is
the Save America Act. The SAVE Act came first, and then the Save America improved on that.
Okay.
But yes.
So the Save America Act is essentially a bipartisan act at this point, right? You have numerous people on the right and the left that believe our elections are not fair, and when you lose as voters, when you lose trust in the process, you lose trust in the people, and we need to do everything that we can to bring that trust back into our government. And if we're not going to represent this country and what our constituents want, then what's the point in all this? We've had, to be quite fair, this is something that bothers me a lot because we have a Republican president, we have a Republican Senate, we have a Republican Congress, and this bill is still getting blocked. And it's even supported by Democrats, some of them. But Democrats nationwide, not in positions of government, support this. So it's important that we all work together and we get this bill passed for the American people so that we can guarantee that our elections are safe, our elections are fair, and our voters' voices are heard.
Thank you. Robert.
Okay. We need more than 2 minutes. No, you know what? I don't know. You know what? Just a slight correction. It's not a bipartisan bill because you want to know who's holding it up? The Democrats and Rhino Republicans don't want the Save America Act passed. And obviously President Trump is pushing for it. That bill's already been in place, but I'm going to co-sponsor it. You want to know who's holding it up? It's rhinos in the Senate. Like, thank God he's out of office, like John Cornyn and Bill Cassidy and all these Republican rhinos that won't get rid of the filibuster. So President Trump, this is the #1 piece of legislation I'm going to get behind when I get in Congress. Just a quick side note, I want to introduce a bill for term limits. I want to introduce a bill to ban insider trading. On day one, I promise you, you vote me in there, I'm going to write legislation, and let's put the feet to the fire and see which congressional people vote for what. So President Trump, if you want to register to vote in America, you need to show us a birth certificate and a driver's license or passport when you first sign up to vote. And then subsequently, every single time that you go to vote, you need to show us ID. All right, so that's the Save America. Yeah. Jocelyn Benson is the worst Secretary of State in American history, and as far as I'm concerned, she violated every state law by flooding the market with, putting all types of people and illegal aliens on the qualified voter roll, and then mass sending out ballots. I had a coworker who was from St. Clair County that I worked with when I was a prosecutor down in Detroit, and he moved into an apartment on Jefferson. And when he moved into his apartment, he got 6 ballots. I'm at 30 seconds. He got 6 ballots in the mail that was sent from all the previous people. And so one thing I could ask out of this administration, I want this Department of Justice to have sharper teeth. Prosecute these people. Go after them. We had a Chinese national vote in the communist city of Ann Arbor. I got 15 seconds, but there's so many problems. But here's my final answer. I am going to support that bill 1,050% because if we don't, we're going to lose America. And we're going to get term limits in there, and we're going to ban insider trading.
So this goes into the follow-up question to this, which you kind of got into already, but what reforms will be a priority for you with respect to elections if you are elected? Robert. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we can go. Since it's a follow-up, Steffan.
You said what reforms?
What regarding elections would be a priority for you if you were elected?
Reforms regarding elections would just be to make sure that we have all of our voter IDs in place. We go to the DMV and get a driver's license or a state ID. You need it to get a job in America. Why aren't we using it to vote? That's really all you need is be able to get that voter ID.
And then
is that all? Robert?
Some more reforms, if I could just take a couple. So we hit election integrity. We hit banning insider trading, and then the third, I want to get term limits in there, and I am going to draft these, and you'll watch. because I'm going to come back and defend every vote. You're going to watch. I'm going to introduce all those bills. I don't care what the establishment says. I don't care if it disrupts the apple cart. One other reform I want to add, Braden, is we need to get rid of the Department of Education. All right? Quit giving IRS people guns. So President, and never forget, right? Remember during the Obama administration, they used your IRS to target conservatives and target pro-lifers. And in 2008 and 2010 and 2012, people that were pro-life, people that were pro-Christian, and people that spoke up against the sexualization of our children in our public schools with the books, they sent the IRS after you. And so I'm not an economic expert, but I'm a common sense person. We either need some sort of fair tax, flat tax, whatever it is, so we can decrease the amount of IRS agents and quit weaponizing them. And then I think the third thing is anything Elizabeth Warren is for, I am automatically against. And so the Consumer Financial Business Protection agency that she created needs to be decimated, and the EPA needs to totally be revamped. So that's another thing. We got to get rid of these agencies, Braden.
Thank you, Robert. Because I had specified what reforms would you do with respect to elections, and you went broadly on it, and that's great. The crowd was into it, so we I want to give you a chance to offer another minute worth of remarks regarding other reforms as well, not just elections.
Okay, so yeah, I think Robert hit it pretty good. We have to reform a lot of what the Democrats were putting into power for the past 4 years before Trump got back in office. And we need to focus on, first and foremost, our immigration and what our police are allowed to do in terms of getting out on the streets and securing our streets from illegal immigrants. Other things that we need to reform, I mean, I don't know, but I think Robert hit a whole lot of them pretty good. There's not a whole lot more to say. We're all on the same team here. So.
Okay. Thank you, Steffan. Final question from me, and then we're going to go to the cards. What do you believe, and this is for Robert first, what do you believe is Congressional District 10's most overlooked industry or asset that you would most want to promote if you were elected as a member of Congress? Robert.
Overlooked asset. You know, I'm really big. We have the first blue-collar billionaire president ever in history, and so we're now the party of the working American. We are. The Republican Party is the class of the working American people. The left, they're limousine liberals now. They represent big government, big business, and people on the coastal elites. And so for the first time, we've had a president that does stand up for the American worker. And when he goes to bed at night, he keeps us safe, and he wants to keep the economy going. And so I want to be a congressman that's a reflection of this district. I am a blue-collar person. My mom's a waitress. My dad's a maintenance man. Unlike my other two opponents, the one that just sent you that baloney text, Mark, these are carpetbaggers and Nepo babies that are being funded by special interests. And I think the way that you're going to see my voting record, my voting record is going to reflect who's funding my campaign. And this is, I think, what gives me the best shot. And actually, you know why they didn't come here, Mark? Is because I'm the MAGA candidate, and they put forward frivolous attacks against me. They try to Bouchard and Kirk and no offense, but I believe I'm the leading candidate in this race and the MAGA candidate, and that's why they're attacking me. And so they went to the Board of Canvassers to try to challenge all types of stuff because they're scared to debate me. They're scared to show up here like me and this young man, and they don't want to put their values and their voting record on the line. And so we need a congressman from Macomb County. And we need a congressman that was raised paycheck to born paycheck to paycheck, raised paycheck to paycheck, still lives paycheck to paycheck, so the establishment can take notice and the Democrats can never tell us what's right. And you asked something, we're not racist, we're not xenophobic, we're not horrible people. We're conservative, we're God-fearing, but we're principled. And that's what this country needs, and that's where you're going to get out of me in Congress.
Thank you, Robert. Steffan?
Yeah, absolutely. Not to sound repetitive, but it is the people here in the 10th District, the blue-collar workers that show up to work every single day. They fight for this community. They fight for this nation. They are the backbone of what we are building here in America. This district was what this entire country was built off of. The assembly lines, the auto workers, the plants, everything came from this area here, and that's our biggest strength. If we don't stick with that and push forward and use that momentum to create more jobs for Americans, more financial boost in our economy from this district, we're going to fall behind. And Michigan has already been doing that under Democratic leadership. We've gone from a good top 10 state. We're down to 44th in education. We're falling behind in economy. We're losing all of our jobs overseas right now. We need to bring everything back, and we need to fight for it.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to now move on to the audience questions. So we have a lot of questions here. So I want to see if we can get agreement here that maybe 1 minute apiece so that everybody's question gets answered, because you guys all came out here and I want you guys to all get your questions answered. So, all right, great. And if you do have more questions, feel free to bring them up. Here we go. It says this first one is for Robert. As you have stated many times, your grandparents were subjected to communism. What would you say about someone who threatens the supporter of an opponent? I think they're trying to say your grandparents were subjected to authoritarianism. How would you respond to somebody here in America who threatens a supporter of somebody maybe you don't agree with, or threatens anybody?
Yeah, obviously violence. So I'm a prosecutor, right? Violence is against the law. You can't, first of all, the left is the one that perpetrates violence in this country, and they killed Charlie Kirk. You want to know why? Because he was young, like me, conservative, Christian, and he articulated those values. And so we're gonna be under attack for the values that we have, right? And it's even biblical. When you try to speak truth and integrity and honesty, then the devil tries to come after you and attack you. And so I always pray to God to give me the work ethic and the words, so that I can fight with the shield of armor, because God knows it's very corrupt in Washington, D.C. And so. How does it turn to communism? Really quickly, because I have 15 seconds. They take away your Bible, they take away your gun, and tyranny sets in. So never let the left attack the First and Second Amendment. That's how you keep liberty alive. Okay, thank you. This is a two-parter, but we already answered the first part. But the next part is related to data centers. We're going to go to Steffan first. If you are going to be against data centers, how will you stand up for your opinion when the Republican Party and Trump is so for data centers?
That's a great question. It's pretty simple. You just need to stand by your morals and know where you came from. Like I said, this entire community was built on the backs of blue-collar workers, and creating these data centers are very beneficial for blue-collar workers for a very, very short period of time. They're very lucrative for our building trades people, electricians, plumbers, all of those tradesmen. But once the data centers are there, our entire lives are going to become obsolete. We're going to be stuck behind phones, looking behind computer screens. And if you're already upset about how much these phones have taken over our lives and the amount of surveillance that we have in our communities, it's going to be astronomically more. It's unlimited at that point, and it's only going to end up ruining our entire country, our entire civilization and way of life, and hopefully we have water left after that.
Thank you, Steffan. Robert, you're up.
Yes, same answer as before. Local control. You can't push this down people's throats if they don't want it. You know why some Republicans push horrible legislation, Braden? Because they're bought and paid for by corporate interests, by PACs, by these people that give them money to push this stuff. I'm proud to say this is why I think all of you need to get behind me as a candidate. I've raised $1.2 million, no corporate PACs, no special interests, most of it from Michigan, from people in my community, friends, family, network, people I went to high school with, et cetera, et cetera. My other opponents can't say the same. They're either funded by their fathers or funded by wealthy donors or funded by a super PAC. I don't have a super PAC, and so my vote remains to you, the people. And so I'll never take money from these people, so my vote is never, ever compromised.
Thank you. Next question, Robert. If elected, will you support all America First legislation, and will you be ever mindful of putting Michigan first as well?
The answer is yes. I think that's pretty short. And I want all of President Trump's executive orders, codified into law. And when I get up there, because what's going to happen, God forbid, a Democrat gets in there, on day one, they're going to repeal everything with the Biden's auto pen repealed everything that Trump did. So you need to get a congressperson that's going to codify and put all of his executive orders into law and introduce them. So that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you. Steffan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Save some time.
It's easy.
All right. Steffan, you're next. Who is the most conservative member of Congress in Michigan, and who would you say is the least conservative and the biggest enemy of freedom and liberty? You can omit that last part if you like. It's just on the card, so I read it.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty easy. Rashida Tlaib is probably the worst in Michigan. We don't really need to get into too much of that, but I really like, for conservative Congress people in Michigan, I really like Lisa McClain. I think that she votes for freedom, and she has very good conservative values, and that's definitely somebody in Michigan. That's our neighbor who I would definitely look towards.
Thank you, Robert.
All right, I'm never going to let you down with my score. And, there's all these organizations, Heritage or Liberty or whatever. My score is going to be very, very high when I get to Congress. I'm never going to hide from you all my votes. I'm going to fly back. I'm only staying in D.C., whatever. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm getting on a plane and coming right back to come back to you to tell you why I voted and how I voted. So I'm always going to have... I want to have the highest conservative liberty score in the entire state of Michigan. Who I really look up to, I'd like to go out of state. I like Brandon Gill. He's a young conservative. He's the youngest Republican, 29 years old, out of Texas. He's on the Oversight Committee holding people accountable. I really like James Comer out of Kentucky. He's great. But I want our Michigan Republicans to have very high voting records, conservative voting records. And who's the worst? Oh, God. One piece of legislation I want to put in, you should be an American-born person to serve in the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House of Representatives. You have to be an American citizen, right? And so I think Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, the whole squad should be out of Congress tomorrow because they're anti-American.
Thank you. Next question.
Shri Tanadar.
Little correction, please. According to JPS Freedom Index, worst of the wars among the Michigan Congress woman is Hillary Scholten, friend of the John James. Her rating is number 2. Tlaib 21. Among Republicans, the best Barrett 73 points, and the worst one John James only 48. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. So, Robert, next question. Are you in opposition to Sharia law and the Islamization that some see as going on in Michigan? And what might you do to prevent it?
Yeah, the answer is yes. I think a bill, I want to know, maybe Ted Cruz has an American laws for American courts. I actually came up, and Tom Mitchell's in the back, I came up, the first Republicans that I came up with was the Tea Party. I was a Tea Party Republican before President Trump came in, and we used to meet at the Dave and Buster's over there at Hall Road. Anyone remember Gary Kubiak? And yeah. Great group. I'm going to join, and I had said it earlier. I've looked up Keith Self. Really like. I think Chip Roy might be on that committee. Brandon Gill, love Brandon Gill, young conservative. Randy Fine out of Florida is a great conservative. I want to partner with those gentlemen. We're going to get on the anti-Sharia law caucus, and we're going to get on the Freedom Caucus. I'm going to be a Freedom Caucus member when I get to Congress.
Steffan.
Yeah, any legislation pushing Sharia law in our country has no place. Like I said before, we're a nation built on Christian values, and we need to get back to those values in order to remain the nation that we are today. And that goes for any religion, really, not just Islam or Muslim communities. Any religion that goes against the Christian values and Christian beliefs it really isn't going to do well in our country for our people.
Just to clarify, when you say you want Christian values, does that mean that you think that everybody should be Christian?
No, that doesn't mean I think everybody should be Christian. I think that people should be able to practice whatever religion they want here in America, as we have our First Amendment rights, but I don't think that it has any place in our government.
Okay. Did you want to respond to that or not?
Sure, I can. I have a problem with, and as a prosecutor, I've have heard of stories, and these cases I think came a little bit after my time, but there was a case out of Dearborn where there was genital mutilization of like females, right? And I don't want to get into all the details, but so young women can't feel, later in life, any type of sexual arousal, et cetera. And so that type of stuff, one thing I think we can do in Congress, try to find, and I'd have to look into it if that's a state statute or a federal statute, but if it's a federal statute, I'd like to sharpen the teeth on that statute. So anyone that engages in these type of barbaric behavior that's enforced by whatever group or religion they're part of, they need to go to prison.
Okay, next question. What is the most important issue that you feel exists in District 10, Steffan?
All over Michigan right now, our children's education is plummeting. That's hands down the biggest issue for this state. If we don't have smart, intelligent kids that are pushing forward, learning basic school education, basic math, basic reading, basic writing, and pushing that forefront further, and getting our kids to a level where education is in the top 10 here in Michigan again, we're going to fall behind even further than we already have. And yeah, I know I see it all the time. I've got 4 kids. The schools' hands are tied right now. They can't. Our public schools are being forced to put a curriculum together that makes no sense and doesn't benefit anyone in our district right now. So that's the huge thing, is our kids' education.
Thank you. Education. Thank you. Robert, 1 minute.
A really hard question to answer, Braden. I think the left pushes everything on us on purpose. It's social issues, it's economic issues, law and order's huge, education's really big, the economy, socialism, putting communism. He said it earlier, almost half of our 4th graders can't read, DEI, over-sexualization of books, decimating the First and Second Amendment, bloating federal government health care. I mean, all these are a problem, and I think the left does it on purpose to overwhelm all of you and to overwhelm all of us. And so I really just can't pick one. It's really hard. I want to attack as much as possible.
But if you could get at just one and you only had one thing you could do, what would be like the top thing up there?
Any legislation that tries to remove God or Christian principles from our lives and tries to destroy the nuclear family, and anything that violates the Constitution. So I'll be honest, when I wake up in the morning, I look through everything from those 3 lenses, and then everything else comes after: taxes, infrastructure, healthcare, et cetera. But those are really, really important.
Thank you. Okay, Robert, this one's for you first. If elected, how will you stop the practice of parents needing their 12-year-old minor's consent to access their medical records as a parent? And how would you stop 12 and up minors from being able to receive medical care without parental consent?
That's really disgusting. Parents are in control of your children's health care and your children's education, and any type of bill that ever comes across the House floor, I'm going to vote down. The government should get the hell out of the way of your children's health care and your children's education, and never allow a doctor or a teacher to brainwash and indoctrinate your children so they can push some sort of leftist ideology on your kids. So I want to put you in the driver's seat always.
Okay, thank you. Steffan.
Yeah, absolutely. Give the rights back to the parents. That's where it starts with the education. That's where it goes down to through healthcare. All the rights need to be back with the parents. I know that this has been an issue in other states recently. It thankfully, to my knowledge, isn't an issue here. It is?
My question, it is absolutely in Michigan. It has been for a couple of years now. Most people aren't aware of it.
Okay.
You have to get your parents' consent. You have to give your parents' consent to access your medical records from age 12 and up.
Yeah, I've got a 13-year-old right now. I don't have to do that. So I don't know. Yeah.
Because most of the doctors are pushing that.
Okay.
Look it up on Lansing's website, it's right there.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know. No, that's...
Done?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, great. Steffan, next question, and I'm going to try to word this properly. Regarding refugees, we know illegal immigration is a problem, but refugee processes are just as much of a problem. They are dumped into a targeted, condensed city, which then leads to the likes of bad representation like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib getting elected. How would you solve this problem, I guess is the question. What would you do about the problem of dumping refugees, as this card puts it, into targeted cities in order to affect elections and affect demographics and things like that?
Yeah, so I think that this goes back to the immigration pause right now. We need to pause all immigration and wait and get people that have immigrated here legally to assimilate to our values. Refugees, I think that what they found with the refugees is that most of the refugees are military-age males. I don't know any military-age male that should be fleeing their country. If you're having a problem in your country, you should stand up for your country and you should fight for them. So stop letting them in.
But how would you prevent it? Because you still have time. How would you prevent that?
By not letting them in.
Just all right. Okay.
Okay, power of the purse, Braden. So as a congressperson, you have oversight of these federal agencies getting money, cut their money off. One thing we learned with the Tea Party group with Gary is I'm Catholic, some of you are Catholic, Lutheran, but a lot of these religious organizations work to undo what's happening in America. So they get paid by the federal government to bring refugees in and resettle them. And where does the left want to resettle them? Well, they want to resettle them in areas that they want to target. Obama brought a bunch of Somali refugees into Minnesota, into Minneapolis, and you want to know how much fraud they've committed? I think somebody said it's up to $20 billion. These people do not want to be Americans. They need to get out of this country, and we need to be very, very, coming to America is a privilege, and we need to be exceptionally on guard about who we let into this country, and we need to interview you. What's your character? What's your who are you? What do you believe in? Where are you coming from? And so, yes, we do. We like J.D. Vance said, we need a moratorium on this stuff.
Thank you. This next question is directly for Steffan first. Do you feel that your military background gives you an advantage over other candidates? And if so, why?
No, I don't feel that my military background gives me advantage over any candidate. I think that it was an honor to serve this country. I love what I did in the military. I was an infantryman. I went overseas to Afghanistan. I earned my combat infantry badge, which I wear proudly on my lapel here. And I care deeply for this country. The reason I bring up my veteran status is because I know what it's like to be of service to this country already, and I'm going to use that same mentality to serve the people of this district.
Robert, I guess the question to you would be, do you feel that Steffan is at an advantage because he has a military background?
I think this young man should be commended for his service, and we obviously deeply appreciate it. But I think the skill set that we really need in this country is there's a lot of lawfare going on, and there's a lot of oversight of tax dollars, and we need people in handcuffs, and we need people behind bars for violating statutes. First of all, they almost took out our president through the court system. They try to kill him, and then they try to prosecute him. And so you see what's going on in this country. I think we need someone like me, a tough prosecutor with the correct legal acumen that understands the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the separation of powers inside and out, that's going to be able to go to Washington, read legislation, write statutes, write bills, so we can get control of this country and fight back and take this country. And we don't want boots on the ground anymore. We want to do things using laws, using statutes, using the court systems, so people can be prosecuted and we can do the right thing and push the America First agenda.
Thank you. Robert, this one's for you first. What is your position on the Second Amendment and red flag laws?
Yeah, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, and I said it earlier. I think I really do believe it's the most important amendment, because without the Second Amendment, the First Amendment falls, and so does everything else. And so the left always wants you to believe that it was meant for. And if you read the Federalist Papers, if you read some of the writings of the Founding Fathers, that Second Amendment is there against, not because of hunting, not because of, no, it's there to push back against a tyrannical, oppressive government. And so I'm always going to vote down any type of laws that prohibit your Second Amendment, right? I want to align myself with pro-gun groups and against any red flag laws, against violating due process, against unarming American citizens.
Steffan.
Shall not infringe. We should be able to own all of the same weaponry that the government has the ability to own, theoretically, based on the Second Amendment. There was no added language to that amendment because it was meant to adapt to what weaponry would adapt to later on in life. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Thank you. Steffan, what are your plans to bring back academics in the public school system? We currently have too many DEI and SEL-based subjects. We need to save the children.
Yeah, so first and foremost, we need to get the basics back in our elementary schools. We need to stop attacking our young children and putting them on medication because they can't sit still in a classroom. The biggest thing I've noticed with my kids in elementary school right now, they get like one recess a day. When I was in elementary school, we went outside multiple times a day, and it's up to the teachers to give them this recess. That's a huge thing that I believe is a negative with our education system right now. Getting the kids outside, getting that fresh air, letting them get their energy out so they can focus in the classroom is huge. We have teachers at my kids' schools in Chippewa Valleys, they won't even take the kids outside if it's too cold. It's a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of effort. They're not going to listen to anything. So first and foremost, put the kids outside, get back to the basics, and the kids will start learning again. This is the only generation that has declined in academics in our society so far.
Thank you. Robert.
Yeah, I'm not for DEI. I'm for something called MEI, Merit, Excellence, and Intelligence. And what the left is doing, that's why Republicans need to get on school boards, conservatives do, because they're more concerned about teaching your children about trans, about gay marriage, and about how to give oral sex in the books in the library than they are about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so that's what we need to teach our children, the ABCs, and obviously all the basics. I've heard some people say like phonics or Phoenix, one of those is good for kids' readings. So implementing, I think, some of this stuff. But like I said, I want to get rid of the Department of Education. It shouldn't be in the role of a federal congressperson, and push it right back to the state so you can choose the curriculum that's best. Also, I'm all about school choice. The Michigan Education Association is one of the worst corrupt unions we have anywhere. And we need school choice so you can take your kids anywhere you want. Let the tax dollar follow the child.
Thank you. Robert. How well funded are you, and where did most of your money come from? Why should the voters believe that you have the funding to win this?
Yeah, so this is why I'm the strongest candidate in the race. I've raised the most money out of any of the establishment candidates by the grace of God. When I first ran for this office, I don't think anybody in my own house, now they believe I can win, but I'm not even sure people in my own house thought I could win. You're not politically connected. Your father's not a politician. You're not a millionaire, but I wasn't going to let this seat dissipate. I jumped in, and we made a lot of noise, and thankfully, by the grace of God, doors have been opened and people have donated to us. There was a Detroit News article at like 1.90% of our money had come from the state of Michigan. It's all public information, so you can go on the FEC website and see exactly who donated to me, where they live, what their occupation is versus my opponents. No corporate PACs, no special interests. I'm totally funded by you, the grassroots and you're the beating heart of this campaign, and you're the beating heart of the Republican Party, and I'm never going to let you down.
Thank you. Steffan.
Yeah, similar. I don't have any sponsorship. I don't have any PACs behind me. I'm running a very lean campaign right now. I'm not bought by anyone. It's so far it's been me, my wife, and the very select volunteers that we have allowed in our little circle here. Most of them are in the room right now. So we are fighting for the 10th district, and we are going to remain fighting for the 10th district. We're not getting behind. We're not letting the money aspect push us down. I don't have $1 million. I think that's very impressive. But quite frankly, the money in politics is why it's all corrupt.
Okay, good answer. I just want to make a note here that if you want to get your question in, get it now because we're getting late here, and I don't want to get any more right at the end when everybody's ready to go. So if you have them, get them in here in the next minute. Otherwise, we're calling it quits. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Next question for Steffan. If President Trump wanted you to vote a certain way and you didn't agree, how would you handle that situation? What would your gauge be? And what criteria would you check?
Yeah, I think that's really important. First and foremost, it needs to follow ethics and morality, and it needs to be in line with the 10th District of Michigan. Just because President Trump wants you to vote a certain way doesn't necessarily make it the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, I answer to constituents and constituents only. I don't answer to a president. While I agree with a lot of what President Trump does, and I care about everything he says, and I admire what he's done for the party, he's not God, and I'll have to answer to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ one day.
Just follow up, and you'll get to answer this too. Suppose that he poses information to you that your constituents don't know, and he says we have to do this, and to you it sounds like, well, that's no good. I don't agree with it, or my constituents wouldn't agree with that. But he shows you information that they're not allowed to know, and you get to know. If you're on a committee like that, what would you do?
I think that's an extremely plausible scenario, but yeah, absolutely. It may happen, and at the end of the day, if I am put into a situation like that, I would hope that the constituents, if I'm privy to top secret information that the constituents can't have, I would hope that they would understand that I needed to make a hard decision, and I would relay that to the constituents and go from there.
Thank you. Robert, you'll get an extra 10 seconds too if you want it. Go.
All right, Braden, please call President Trump and tell him I love him, and I'm going to get up there and vote with his value system, and I trust him. And actually, I knocked doors for him in 2016 when I was the Macomb County Youth Chair. I dedicated a full year of my life for free to knocking doors so we could help get him elected in MAGA country, which is Macomb County. And so we all trust him. He's been doing a great job. I don't see a scenario where he's going to come and tell us to vote for something that goes against the best interests of the American people or the conservative or the Republican Republican Party platform. However, in that unique situation, Braden, that you say that, let's say we're on a national security committee of some sorts, and it's some sort of high level or top secret information that's not exposed to the public, I am going, first of all, you all have to trust me, and if you see the rest of my voting record as a true conservative MAGA warrior, then you're going to trust us on that vote as well. And I'm going to trust the president, I'm going to trust Pete Hegseth, who's doing a great job, and I'm going to trust Marco Rubio and trust J.D. Vance and the rest of his cabinet to put forward the best national intelligence and information to us so we can make a great vote. So.
Okay, thank you. Robert, next question. Are you for, well, we're back to the data centers. Man, that was a good question. I'm glad we went over that. If you are elected and against data centers, how will you stand up for your constituents when the Republican Party requests that we push for data centers or contracts for data centers, or I think recently there like giant contracts for data centers and deregulation of them? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah, I will stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you. If you call me, you'll have my number. I will show up to your local planning meetings, your zoning meetings, stand shoulder to shoulder with you to push back, to hold accountable these planning commissioners, these zoning commissioners, these city council members that are trying to push something down your throat that you don't want. One thing that's, and obviously I think it follows, or it comes with money. A lot of these state reps and state senators are compromised by these companies because they take money from them, and that's why they're pushing it down our throat. And Republicans are obviously guilty from that. So I think it's really important for you all to research your candidates and who's giving them money. That's going to tell you a lot about how they vote when they get into their office.
Thank you. Steffan.
Yeah, absolutely. The data centers are very destructive to our communities. So I will also be there with you. Whatever our constituents need, whatever they want. Those data centers are not for a federal government to decide on. I mean, I think we've beaten this one to death.
Yes, we have. Next. Steffan, if the Department of Education were eliminated, what is the plan for special education and IDEA? I'm not sure what IDEA. I hear somebody whispering. Somebody's going to tell me what it is.
Individuals with Disabilities Education Act.
Thank you.
Special education law.
Okay.
So if the Department of Education is eliminated, all of that would then funnel through to the states where it should be. Our states are very capable of making educational decisions for our children, but furthermore, it needs to funnel to the parents. Our parents should be active in our children's education and learning, and I am, by the grace of God, thankful that I do not have any children with disabilities who are on any IEPs or anything like that. So I am not overly familiar with what goes on from the Department of Education to the IEPs, but that is something that has been brought to my attention previously, and it is something that I want to look into further.
Thank you. Robert.
Yeah, I'm a pure constitutionalist, and so I think the Department of Education needs to be shut down immediately. And so I don't get why we pay taxes for education, then it goes to Washington, D.C., that dollar walks through the Department of Education where the left and all these bureaucrats take money out of that dollar, and then they send it back to you at a fraction of the cost. That money should stay here. You should be in charge of your children's education. I'll be honest, it seems like you know probably more than him and I on this. But it's not like we're cruel. It's not like your children shouldn't get the help they need, especially special education kids. But I think if we special ed kids, but I think if we get rid of the Department of Education, you'll see more dollars helping them, and that dollar being stretched because it's not going to government agency. And then also what the Department of Education does is they send strings back from DC of what they want you to teach your kids, and that's pretty disgusting, and that's why our kids are failing and not moving forward.
Next question. Robert, how do you feel about sanctuary cities? Take your time.
I could be really quick.
Yeah,
And, totally against.
Okay. Steffan.
Same.
Okay. How would you deal with it?
Yeah, I know this issue really well. Tough prosecutors, hire more police, appoint Republican judges that are going to be tough on crime, and no federal money to sanctuary cities, defund them, and I'm fully supportive of the president sending in federal law enforcement to clean up those streets. And I can't. Listen, I've worked in the inner city as a prosecutor, and I can't tell you, regardless of skin color, regardless of socioeconomic background, you know what people want? Victims, I've talked to victims that were raped, shot at, abused. People want safe streets, and they tell me all the time, how come the cops didn't come quick enough? And how come, and I want this person to be in prison for as long as possible. So.
To build on that, I've spoken with many police officers over the last few years, and one of the main gripes that they have with illegal immigration is that they don't have anywhere to put illegal immigrants, so they don't do anything about it. And so they say, what do you want me to do about it? We don't have a prison space for them, we can't afford to house them, and the federal government won't come in and do anything for us anyway, so what do you want us to do? We have people getting raped, we have people, committing other crimes that we actually know how to deal with. We're not going to do this. How would you respond to that? And that's for you too, once we get there.
Yeah, and I'll answer it quickly. You want to know what the problem is? Democrat sheriffs and Democrat police chiefs and mayors like we had here in Sterling Heights are telling police officers, do not interact and do not call federal ICE when you have an illegal alien in your custody. All they have to do is you keep them in the back of the scout car, you call ICE, they'll come and pick them up and deport. And the problem is we have crazy leftist mayors and some Democrat sheriffs in these counties that will never work with federal law enforcement and the DOJ and President Trump. And it's disgusting, and it needs to stop now, and no sending money to these Democrat-run inner cities.
Steffan.
Yeah, Robert said it really well. You definitely need to stop sanctuary cities. If there's a community that wants a sanctuary city, put it on the community itself. If Shelby Township wants a sanctuary city, which I know it doesn't, but if for some reason they do, leave it to their county to take care, or to their city to take care of. We need to stop pushing immigrants onto people who don't, quite frankly, want them. There's a lot of immigrants that are not good for our communities, and we need to allow ICE to deport those immigrants.
Thank you. What is your stance on the push to release convicted prisoners early if they committed their crime when they were under 26 years of age? Many families are having to sit through hearings and reliving their loved one's death or crimes and fearing the murderer will be set free. Steffan.
I think that's terrible. There's no reason that anyone who committed a heinous crime should be out on our streets, regardless of what age they were. If they were at a younger age and they committed this crime, there's obviously some sort of mental breakdown in their psychology, and they need help. They need to be taken care of, and the only way to do that is by having them in a jailhouse system where they belong. They're absolute terrible people for murdering, raping, whatever it may be, our citizens.
Robert?
Yeah, you lose your liberty when you commit a crime against another person, especially when it's an assaultive crime. I believe in truth in sentencing. When you're sentenced, you need to serve out that full sentence, and we need judges that sentence people appropriately based on the crime that they committed. So the left, even sometimes Republicans, push a lot of bills to get people out early, and obviously people can be reformed. It's got to be a case-by-case basis. That's why we have parole boards, but victims are number one. Victims' rights are number one. And in a lot of these inner city Democrat-run courtrooms, police and victims are last. They care more about the defense attorney, the defendant, and the judge over the rights and security of us. Yes, sir.
As a prosecutor.
You're a prosecutor? Oh.
I think I could talk loud. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. As a prosecutor, backroom door deals. How do you handle that? How do you come across and take that out of the equation? In other words, this guy did something really bad, but you got his defense team and the judge who's backing him to say, hey, it's not so bad. Let's just,
make a deal and get it done. What do you?
Yeah, I think yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for speaking up, actually. I'm against backroom deals. If you're somebody that's unethical and dishonest and get involved in that, you should lose your law license and you should not be able to practice law. Your priority when you're a prosecutor is to stand up for the police and to stand up for the victim. And you need to turn to that victim and say, what are you comfortable with? What outcome do you want to see? Have that conversation with the victim. These are the strengths of the case. These are the weaknesses, and this is what it looks like. And you come to an agreement and consult them and console with them, and then go forward and put that plea deal on the record. Nothing in smoke-filled rooms, nothing in the back. And not only is that sometimes a legal problem, but it's a problem with politicians where they sit in smoke-filled rooms and try to pick your next politician and push that stuff on us. So I'm totally against any of that unethical behavior.
Piggybacking on that,
Thank you for the question.
it's not just people being released at 26 years of age. You're also seeing a lot of judges releasing people based on racial preferencing or their status as a foreign immigrant or something like that. How do you think that's being accomplished? By what mechanism? And how can you prevent a judge from doing something like that? Robert.
Yeah,
And then Steph.
that's a leftist propaganda. That's disgusting. First of all, it's unconstitutional to judge someone, whether that be like admittance into a university or judging someone in front of you based on the color of their skin. Everything should be based on the content of your character and on the facts of the case. And so a lot of leftist judges try to promote that based on your sex or based on your race. No, it should be based on the type of criminal you are, how horrible and heinous the crime is, and the left wants cashless bonds. They want to let defendants and criminals right back on the streets to put havoc back on our streets. You need to keep them locked up until their case is done, until they come down with the sentence and are sent to prison.
Thank you. Steffan.
Can you just repeat the follow-up?
The follow-up question is related to judges. How do you deal with that? What is the basis for them releasing people based on race or ethnicity or their status as a citizen, and they're just letting them go, right? How is that happening? How would you deal with it?
So, I mean, that's essentially the same issue that we're having with DEI, but at a grand scale of heinous felonies, which is 10 times worse, releasing criminals back onto the street. One of my best friends is a police officer in Chicago right now, and he is constantly telling me every single day, we arrest these people, I'm arresting them a week later. There's nothing I can do about it. Everything I do is my hands are completely tied. I can arrest them 80 times and then they're back on the street. And it's because of the judges. We need to hold the judges accountable. We need to hold all of our government accountable, but it starts with the judges and all of our friends in Congress. How do you hold them accountable? That's a great question. You need to stop the backdoor deals. You need to, when those deals are put to light, you need to prosecute the judges. You need to come down hard on them. I know we had a judge. Do I need to stop?
No, that's fine. We're done. So
All right.
that's fine. And he's no. You get another few seconds, and then he'll come in. That's fine.
Okay. We had I know there was a judge that was held in contempt or whatever it was for allowing an illegal immigrant or they were harboring an illegal immigrant or something. I think that was in, I think we had 2 cases, one in Wisconsin and one in Arizona, I believe. You need to come down hard on those judges, and it needs to be public, and people need to be made aware of it. So, 1, we can build trust back in the system, and 2, we can put these criminals behind bars where they belong.
Robert?
Yeah, one way to do it is
Thank you.
through statutory law. And so you can have the judge, they have to be a rule of law judge, appeal them, but they should follow whatever we as legislators write. So your bond should be based on your criminal history. Have you run away before? Are you a flight risk, right? We can put different barometers in there that are not based on sex, that are not based on race, and the judges need to be conformed and confined to what we put in the statute. And it all goes down to DEI. We're tired of, we're all Americans and we're all children of God. Quit judging people on their skin color or their sex. We don't care if you're an airline pilot, what color skin you are, or where you come from or where you live. Are you the best pilot? Are you the best surgeon? Are you the best judge? judge and getting good quality people in office based on their resume and their experience and their intelligence, not the color of the skin or their, the left wants you to believe there's 57 genders, by the way, Braden. There's only 2.
I thought there was 82. I didn't know. It went. Okay. Last question. Will you be at the debate on the 16th of June that's being organized elsewhere by another GOP group?
Yes.
I can't read this.
Yeah, I'll show up anytime, any place to debate. So anyone who calls the phone,
Okay.
we will be present.
All right. That's the right attitude. I love it. Everybody. These are your candidates. Thank you for showing up tonight. Now, before we go, I'd like to give you guys both another 2 minutes to give your closing remarks to the audience. Thank you guys for sticking around and for being so engaged. That was a lot of questions, so thank you so much. I hope this was worth your time. I hope you learned some things, and I hope you'll take this information back to the other people in Michigan. So, what's that? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Oh no, this was the question. Are we doing that? Mark, did you want to do the roving mic too, or not? Did you want to do a roving mic or not?
Okay.
Are there additional questions? Would anybody like to take it? Okay, so she would like it. So we have one more question. Okay, here we go.
Sorry, I'll make it quick. Robert, I had a follow-up when you were talking about tough on crime. And Steffan, I absolutely agree that a lot of it is due to the influx of immigration, but we can't ignore the breakdown of the family unit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there's the breakdown of the family unit is really important. You need, in a lot of the inner cities, having a fatherless household commits to not having leadership. I mean, you need both a mom and a dad because they're gifts from God, from a mother and a father to raise a strong family, a faith-filled family, respect and dignity for every human being. That's what everyone wants. And so you're right. 2 things, and it's all done on purpose, I think, by the left. You get people on welfare, and then you have people drop out of high school. If you do those 2 things, your chances of living below the poverty line is really, really low. And so you got to give people safe streets, great schools, a good faith-filled environment, and kids will be really successful. And so I think having good role models, the way you pick friends, I said it earlier, the most important house is your house, not the White House. And we always have to remember, as us as Americans, that's the most important way that we're going to get ourselves out of all the problems, societal problems that we have.
You want me to answer as well? Same thing. You need to put the father back in the home. There's so many social programs for women to help them in the absence of fatherless homes that have created the government to end up stepping in and be a child's father, and there's no place for that in our society. That's what's destroying our youth, and we need to make sure that the nuclear family unit stays together, and that's a mother as woman and a father as male.
So whoever would like to go first, our legislature chooses the congressional district boundaries. Could you expand on that? I think judges are starting to enter into that realm a little bit. Would you like to discuss it a little bit? I mean, 8 states have redistricted in the last couple of years.
What's the question?
Is it constitutional for a judge to redistrict for a state legislature?
So you're getting into like the gerrymandering and
Correct, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to look at the law, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't say anywhere that the judge is supposed to write it, right? Is that what you're getting at, Fred? So I would
think-
say if a judge is writing it or on the panel to draw the districts.
Well, actually, judges are deciding the cases, right? So instead of the legislature having the final say, judges are stepping in and making these cases, right? So, all right, so I wasn't clear in my question, I'm sorry.
I guess I thought that the state's legislature was voting on those districts. they get overruled by the
are
judges.
continuously making the decisions.
So then those judges don't believe in originalism. I mean, they have to follow what the statute by the legislature, because if you don't like the law that's being passed, your elected state rep or state senator changes it. When you get a rogue judge on there, then it becomes a really big problem for liberty, Fred.
Thanks, Robert.
And we both agree to that answer, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Thank you both very much, and I don't really have a question. I guess I would just want to say that because you both were great tonight, if you go to that next debate or anyone you go to the future, if anybody ever asked you what is the greatest asset in the 10th district, please say the children, because they're our future. They are our greatest asset.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Now, I want to thank everybody for their questions. I want to thank the two candidates. Both of you guys did a wonderful job. Another round of applause here. And now, I have no particular reason to choose one or the other, but I would like both of you to give your closing 2-minute remarks. Steffan, you go first.
All right. I appreciate the time that everybody came to visit and listen to both Robert and I. I appreciate Robert's open conversation. This was fantastic overall. I do hope that you guys are able to look past my lack of law knowledge and law degree here and realize that I am a candidate for the people. I am a candidate of the people. And that is where I plan to stay. I am this district. I am a father. I am a husband. I am the nuclear family. I want to represent you all here in this district, and that's all I really got.
Thank you, Steffan. Yeah, you can clap for that. Okay, Robert, you're up.
All right. Just want to thanks again, Braden, Sheila, Mark Fortin, for having this event. You deserve, I know no other grassroots organization stuffs more packets and knocks more doors than this group, and so I think you all should give yourselves a big round of applause. Rosie, yeah, you all are MAGA grassroots warriors, and God bless you and all the work you do, because it's far more important than any candidate or a candidacy. I hope it gives you all purpose and value to know that what you do every day does save America. And so I'm just like you. I was a grassroots Republican. I sat in these chairs the entirety of my life, and now I have the honor to standing up here and running for office. It's great. I'm really humbled by it. I thank God every day for the opportunity I've had to meet a lot of great people. I gave up my job and gave up a pension to run for Congress in my hometown. I'm the only candidate born, bred, and raised in Sterling Heights, Michigan, between 15 and 16 Mile and Ryan. I love this country. I'm grateful for this country. I was born here. My mother was born here, but my grandparents know what life is like outside of this country. And I think we forget that there's so much tyranny and communism and socialism in other places, and we should be so grateful to live in the greatest country in the world, and we have to defend America. And what makes America great? It's really simple. It's God over government. It is. It's the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. It's the Bill of Rights. It's the separation of powers. It's putting liberty over government, right? It's these people were blessed by God. We've been blessed by God, this country, all the things that are here. And so we need to push hard. We need to save America. If we lose America, we're never, ever going to go elsewhere. And I think it's despicable, Mark. You want to know why the other candidates weren't here? Because other establishment leaders told them not to come. That's the truth, okay? And so nobody tells me what to do. I show up because I care, and I love you, and I love this country, and I promise you, you have to be, number one, electable. You have to have the educational background, which I have. I have a law degree. I'm a true conservative. I've been raised a conservative, and I've given this party I know a lot of the people in this room. I've knocked doors and gone to events with a lot of you for many years, and now I have the money. 1.2 million grassroots money, and then Auto Workers for Trump, Veterans for America First, General Flynn's group has endorsed me. A lot of conservative state reps like Jamie Green and Jay DeBoyer and Barb Zinner have endorsed us. And so we're not stopping until we get to the top, and we're going to Congress to kick ass and save America and support President Donald J. Trump. God bless you, and everybody have a great night.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, candidates. Steffan and Robert.